this tradition that we have established will continue in our subsequent elections, and people really, those who have been defeated, to accept, and those who have been elected to be magnanimous in their victory.
President Jonathan receives encomiums as the Council of State under the present dispensation ends sitting.
We make the laws that the executive is supposed to enforce, and the judiciary is supposed to interpret the laws. No arm of government should take any action that will impugn on the integrity of the other.
Attempts by the Senate to override President Jonathan's veto to the fourth constitutional alteration suffers setback. Plus, Nigerians expelled from Niger Republic arrive Yobe State en route to their various states of origin. Welcome to NTA Network News. My name is Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. President Goodluck Jonathan's act of statesmanship in conceding defeat at the polls and the magnanimity of General Muhammadu Buhari in victory was re-echoed as the Council of State held its last sitting under the present administration. Correspondent Segun Lawole has details.
This is the last Council of State meeting under the current administration, and indeed a valedictory one for President Goodluck Jonathan, who bows out of office on May 29. Suffice it to say that some governors that attended today's Council of State meeting will not certainly be part of the next. It was another opportunity for all the former heads of state and presidents, including the outgoing President Jonathan and state governors, as well as former chief justices of the Federation, who make up the Council of State, to sit under one roof and deliberate on the state of the nation. The Council reiterated all that occurred in the last 4 years and the contributions of the Council to national development, while appreciating the roles played by President Jonathan and General Muhammadu Buhari in maintaining peace in the country.
But today, you can hardly notice the tension that was there before the election. And we hope that this convention and this tradition that we have established will continue in our subsequent elections, and people really, those who have been defeated, to accept, and those who have been elected to be magnanimous in their victory.
The security situation in the country was also discussed. The Council reviewed the progress made in the fight against insurgency. The National Security Advisor was said to have briefed the Council on why the country's security apparatus took a while to achieve greater success.
But that it took time for them to address it because they were getting together, trying to get the collaborations of some surrounding African countries. And so we, Nigerians, should have confidence that insurgency will soon be a thing of the past. And he assured Council of State that before May 29, at least the enclaves of these insurgents, which is Sambisa Forest, will be properly combed and camped, totally annihilated, believing that that we at least put pay to the incessant guerrilla-style attack. The issue of Fulani herdsmen is an issue also that he expects the incoming administration to address, since there's a document that has already stated what needs to be done and what will address the problem. So
the Council also critically looked at the ongoing transition process and agreed that every ministry, department, and agencies of government must submit their briefs, including details of funds collected, assets and liabilities, all be handed over to the incoming administration.
These officially, the document will be handed over on the 28th of May. The inauguration, as you know, is the 29th, and the committees have all finished their arrangements. Invitations have been sent out. All the presidents of African countries have been invited, including the presidents and prime ministers of the G8, including multilateral heads like the UN, Commonwealth, ECOWAS, AU, have all been invited.
In the State House, Segun Lawole, NTA News.
Still at the State House, President Goodluck Jonathan has confirmed the appointment of Solomon Arase as the substantive Inspector General of Police. The confirmation was announced at the end of the Police Council meeting held at the State House and presided over by President Goodluck Jonathan. Again, State House correspondent Shegun Lawale has the report.
Issues bordering on national security dominated discussions at the Police Council meeting held behind closed doors. Apart from the confirmation of the appointment of Solomon Arase as the substantive Inspector General of Police, the meeting also discussed new strategies to be adopted in facing the current security challenges.
Have just been confirmed.
Your confirmation is coming at a time Nigeria is said to be experiencing the worst security situation after the Biafran war. What are you bringing on board?
No, I don't think that is true. I don't think it's the worst security situation we are facing. There is no society that is actually crime-free, but we are trying to ensure that it is within tolerable, levels, and that is exactly what we are going to do. It's not as bad as the public perception,
All right. On the police checkpoints across the country, the Inspector General of Police reaffirmed his earlier directive for their removal.
We already have an enforcement policy in place. 16 teams have moved out across the length and breadth of the country to ensure that there is strict compliance to that order. And besides that, you said what I want to tell my men. Their welfare will be, one of my cardinal responsibilities. And you don't motivate a workforce except their welfare becomes paramount in your. So I'm going to ensure that their welfare is put in the front burner. To Nigerians, I know the expectations are high, but I can assure them that no Nigerian will suffer any injustice by my inaction or my action.
Mr. Arase was appointed a few weeks ago as acting Inspector General of Police after the general elections, following the removal of the former IJ, Mr. Suleiman Abba. In the state.
To the legislature now, attempt by the Senate to commence the process of overriding the veto of President Goodluck Jonathan with respect to the Fourth Alteration Act of the Constitution at Tuesday's plenary may have suffered a setback. This indication came to light when senators resolved at the session to defer the first reading of the bill as planned without any further explanations. National Assembly correspondent Adam Musambo has details.
The Fourth Alteration Act of the 1999 Constitution, sponsored by the Deputy Senate President Ike Ikweremadu and 46 others, has already been gazetted by the National Assembly despite the ruling by the Supreme Court that status quo be maintained pending the determination of the suit by the executive over contentious issues in the amendment process. The first reading of the bill on the floor could have been its formal reintroduction in the Senate for actions deemed appropriate by the lawmakers. That did not happen as the Senate resolved to not only defer the matter but also hold an executive session on Wednesday for further consultations.
The implication is that the bill is before us, one, and two, it's in fulfillment of our rules. We make the laws that the executive is supposed to enforce, and the judiciary is supposed to interpret the laws. No arm of government should take any action that will impugn on the integrity of the other, nor get into the domestic jurisdiction of the other.
We are going to do some closed sessions so that some of us who are not lawyers will now understand more of the implications of it legally. But for us, we believe we are working for Nigerians, and I think somebody should not stop us from working for the interests of Nigeria.
I think the court is not even right in even asking us to maintain status quo. Let them allow us to finish. If the executive thinks that what we have done is not the right thing, we should now approach the judiciary. We are determined to do our job, and we must do our job.
The lawmakers, however, passed for third reading the National Tobacco Control Bill 2015, meant to, among others, protect the Nigerian public from the devastating health, social, environmental, and economic consequences of tobacco consumption.
So I believe that the society, especially those whose business involves production and sale of tobacco, will understand our concern for the health of our people.
Also adopted is the report of the Joint Committee on Trade and Works on Equipment Leasing Bill 2015. This is aimed at bringing sanity and certainty into the practice of leasing in Nigeria by ushering in a regulatory regime that would protect both the leasees and the owners or financiers. The Senate resumes plenary on Wednesday.
The House of Representatives has approved the recommendations of the Committees of Agriculture and Justice on a bill which seeks to provide for private sector participation and promotion of commercial agriculture. The lawmakers also considered and approved the report from the Committees on Education and Justice, seeking to amend the TET Fund Act to provide for the Nigerian Law School. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Okafor reports on these and other activities at Tuesday's plenary.
The House resumed plenary Tuesday with 3 reports, including that from the Committees on Agriculture and Justice, scheduled for consideration in the other paper. This is sequel to the standing order by the House mandating committees to promptly conclude reports on bills and motions referred to them during plenary before the 7th Assembly's tenure ends. The House dissolved into the Committee of the Whole. Chairman House Committee on Agriculture, Mohammed Tahir Mungunu, noted that agriculture has the potentials of being the major revenue earner for Nigeria.
One of the major problems in this country that constitute a cog in the wheel of successful agricultural production in this country is lack of modern machinery and technology.
The body can now look at those areas. Is in sharp conflict with the powers given to Standard Organization of Nigeria. We are trying to separate it.
We are given to understand that the board shall establish a system of cooperation with Standard Organization. That has already given impression that the Standard Organization also has a role to play.
Approved clauses 1 to 2, amended clauses 3, 4, and 5, approved clauses 6, 7, and the long title of the bill.
The clause-by-clause consideration of the report of the Committees on Education and Justice elicited mixed reactions as the lawmakers sought to amend the Act to expressly provide for the Nigerian Law School.
I believe the fund will be able to shoulder this responsibility for this veritable institution in the educational transformation of this country.
Mr. Speaker, is one representative representing the entire university community, one representing the entire polytechnic and colleges of education. It is not as if each university is represented, no.
The universities will provide one representative. The Nigerian Law School will provide its representative. The polytechnics will provide one representative.
At the end, the recommendations of the report were approved. In another development, the Chairman House Committee on Health, Ndudi Elumelu, laid 3 reports on the floor of the House, that on the Nigerian Mental Health Bill, another which seeks to establish the National Postgraduate College of Medical Laboratory Science, and the Federal Road Safety Commission Bill. The House also received the report of the Committee on Interior on a bill seeking to repeal the Prisons Act laws of the Federation by Representative Umar Bature of Sokoto State. From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Okafor, NTA News.
The ongoing induction certificate course for state legislators-elect have continued to provide insights towards acquainting the participants with the rudiments of lawmaking processes and other legislative functions. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim reports.
The state legislators-elect were taken through various lecture topics, including the constitutional powers of the Nigerian legislature, moderated by Shaibu Danwaka and Professor Ofonze Amuchazi. The paper on overview of Nigerian State Assembly structure and functions was presented by the Speaker, Gombe State House of Assembly, Inuwa Garuba, in the session chaired by the Speaker of Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, Samuel Ekong.
Treaty ratification is one aspect where National Assembly will require the support and assistance of state assemblies in Nigeria.
You have to be making research, you have to be making comparative, research or analysis to what you can do to be able to empower yourself in order to represent your constituency in the House of Assembly.
The state lawmakers were also taken through the processes of opening a new parliament and a mock session. The presenters challenged them to concentrate on making laws that would promote security, safety, and the development of the citizens, the state, and the nation at large. Some of the participants made contributions and obtained clarifications on some issues bordering on legislative proceedings.
We are taught how to legislate when we get to our state. We are taught how to relate with the governor. and we have to relate with people.
When I get back to Imo State, I will see what laws we have in the books, see whether some can be repealed, see whether some can be amended, and then I have some fresh ideas which I hope I'll get the opportunity to introduce.
When you are going to vote for a speaker, a deputy speaker, you have to consider the ranking.
I'm going to be involved in a robust and resilient legislative engagement, always having my people at heart.
They were encouraged to make judicious use of the opportunity provided by the National Institute for Legislative Studies.
The need to update the present regulatory framework on transportation importation.
Sorry for that slight hitch there in the report. The Draft Explosives Act 2015 and regulation has engaged the attention of the operations in the solid minerals sector. This is at a stakeholders forum held in Abuja at the instance of the Federal Ministry of Mines and State Development. Correspondent Mohammed Abdul Qadri reports.
The need to update the present regulatory framework on transportation, importation, storage, and use of explosives to be in tune with other mining jurisdictions and ensure national security underscores the need for stakeholders to make input in the draft. The critical areas the Draft Explosive Act is reviewed include the classification of explosive and sanctions to curtail its abuse.
While we try as much as possible to handle the security issues, we should not be unmindful of the fact that we needed to do business. So you cannot stop it. If you restrict it, it can restrict your activities and ultimately your income in the country. That's why it is a very challenging thing to do. And that's what informed us of exposing it to a wider audience, wider input.
This, I believe, will certainly result in a more enriched document, which, when eventually passed into law, will stand the test of time.
We need serious manpower to supervise and monitor the powers in these new regulations.
We are begging the current administration, the incoming administration, to key into solid mineral seriously. There are so much mineral deposits that are encased in our rural communities that are left unexploited.
Papers presented at the forum include comparative analysis of the Explosive Act 1964, Regulations 1967, and the proposed Draft Explosive Act and Regulations of Local Manufacture of Explosive and Exports. Manufacture of improvised explosives devices by the insurgents and other criminally minded individuals posing serious threat to national security engaged the attention of stakeholders at the forum. In Abuja, Muhammad Abdul Qadri, NTA News.
More than 6,000 Nigerians evacuated from Nigeria Republic have arrived Gaidam, Yobe State to begin their homeward journey to their respective states of origin. Defense correspondent Mohammed Abdul Qadri reports from Yobe State that the National Emergency Management Agency and other bodies received registered returnees.
The National Emergency Management Agency created 2 transit camps in Gaidam for screening and profiling of the returnees.
And we are profiling them even also by families when we are, and states. So within the states, we have identified a family or a number of families that can fill a vehicle.
We have also activated the General Hospital, the doctors who are there, and we want them to give us the list of drugs they need, so that we will buy and give them.
They are Nigerians of diverse backgrounds of about 10 different states, but mainly in fishing profession, who were given marching order by the Nigerian government to quit ahead of the military operations in the Boko Haram affected riverine axis of their country.
Yes, they are brought without knowledge of the local government, but those even so, we received them accordingly from the border.
Some of the returnees who left their valuables and investment behind said they need government backing to make ends meet.
I buy almost fish of 800,000 and they burned the whole fish. The whole fish were burned.
My children's clothes are born. My wife came out with only a shirt. We don't have even what to blanket even to even cover our body.
We all lack job here. When we are coverless, we come out empty. How do we start? We need the help of the federal government in order to help our lives.
Very happy because I am sure if God reach, my father will get another money to bring me back to my school to fill my education.
Over 3,000 returnees are so far been transported to about 10 states. For now, the accurate data of Nigerians who returned from Niger Republic is still being worked out by the National Emergency Management Agency. From Gaidam, in Gaidam local government area of Yobe State, Muhammad Abdel Kadri, NTA News.
Still on victims of insurgency, there is growing concern with the process of reintegrating the recently rescued victims of Boko Haram into the Nigerian society. Guests on NTA's flagship program, Good Morning Nigeria, emphasized the need to de-radicalize these victims against the ideology of their former captors. Ngufan Chaji has the report.
With hundreds of women and children in the Sambisa forest by the Nigerian army as they extended the fight against Boko Haram into the infamous forest. The concern has now become what to do with these Boko Haram victims, especially with regard to their reorientation and reintegration into the society. A professor of criminology at the University of Jos, Etanibi Alemika, says psychotherapeutic interventions should be carried out to reduce the risk of trauma and depression, while comprehensive programs to deal with all associated challenges must be put in place.
We will require health services, we will require social services, we require clinical services, skill building, education.
Specialists like psychiatrists, psychologists, who will now work on the cognitive restructuring of these affected victims.
In view of the fact that they had been in the custody of extremists for a sustained period, a process of de-radicalization was recommended, while some form of collaboration between the civil society and the larger society was proposed to help the displaced person.
We need to go beyond this, and that's why we need to know the setting, the geosociology of these areas, of this country. We need to know the forces, we need to know the factors, we need to know our social capital. There will be need for intermittent sort of retreats for religious leaders.
The Nigerian government has been profiling the former Boko Haram captives and relocating them as part of the process of rehabilitation in Abuja. Gufan Shaji and
ahead of the 8th African First Ladies Peace Mission Summit scheduled for the 15th of May in Abuja, Nigeria's First Lady and President of the Peace Mission, Dame Patience Jonathan, has asked Nigerians to accord the visiting First Ladies and members of their delegation a warm reception. In a statement, the First Lady explained that the emergency summit was earlier scheduled at the last Executive Bureau meeting of the body in Pretoria, South Africa in 2014, where it was agreed that the 8th summit will hold in Abuja in July 2015. But the current situation demands an emergency meeting for her to properly hand over. Dame Patience Jonathan explained that the tenure of the President of the African First Ladies Peace Mission, which she holds, is for a period of 2 years. Hence, the 8th summit will lead to the emergence of a new leadership. Dame Patience Jonathan advised Nigerians to avoid insinuations that the emergency summit has any ulterior motive. She noted that it has been organized in compliance with the internal regulations of the Peace Summit. PDP raises alarm over alleged APC plans to take over states won by the PDP in the just concluded general elections. Details of these and others after this break.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. We Generation G with it flex, with it package, correct. Wanna touch my phone, I connect. Discounted, oh yeah, collect. We bounce discounts, you name it. Free data, you name it. Free SMS, so yes. Discounted, bounce to bounce rates. Now doesn't it sound great? Discounted bounce to bounce rates. Whether WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, it's all about sharing for less. With all of my favorite features, yeah, bring it back again. Hashtagging what's happening. Harder to bounce, further we go. Bigger to bounce, further we glow.
Bounce to the upside of life. Dial *170*4# and get 15 megabytes free data on every recharge. Unlimited free SMS. 11 kobo per second discounted rate on Bounce to Bounce and Campus Zone. Or get 200% bonus on every recharge over 500 naira. Bounce to the upside of life.
Discover the liquid freshness of Center Fresh chewing gum that you feel. And others too. Center Fresh. Trust the freshness.
Want your bathroom to dazzle? Give your toilet the Hypo treatment to brighten and also kill germs so your bathroom stays disinfected and squeaky clean.
Introducing Smart Connect, where get plenty awoof to allow you talk, text, and browse nyafu for tinny money.
Say you know say with just 200 naira recharge card, Airtel they summer me with 200% bonus to yarn more with any network.
Now you not call me your fiance.
Relax. In fact, I don't buy your own address in Nigeria. As correct vessel. Anytime I recharge 200 naira and above, Smart Connect they suffer me with free internet to browse.
If you want to make your family follow you enjoy, buy your 4-in-1 family pack for the price of one.
Oh baby.
This girl too, na family and friends.
No carry last though. Buy your Airtel SIM today.
Airtel, the smartphone network. A hectic lifestyle or overeating can cause a burning pain in your chest. That's heartburn. Take Gaviscon. One dose relieves in 3 minutes to soothe the pain of heartburn. It goes straight to the source to work for hours, providing long-lasting relief.
That's why I recommend Gaviscon.
I recommend Gaviscon. Gaviscon, fast relief you can actually feel.
If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor.
Know that you are exposed to up to 100 illness-causing germs every day?
I encourage my kids to learn new things, and if they get hurt, I rely on my Dettol to fight germs. It's like my own first aid kit.
My family needs protection from germs. My Dettol disinfects surfaces and clothes, keeping them clean and safe from germs.
The National Council of Women's Societies invites all Nigerian women to the send forth and inauguration of Her Excellency, Dame Dr. Patience Vaka Jonathan, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as the Chairman, Board of Trustees of the National Council for Women's Societies. Let us come out en masse to celebrate the Mother of the Nation for being an unrepentant women's advocate, as she is inaugurated as the BOT Chairman of the NCWS. Dates: Thursday, May 14, 2015. Venue: National Center for Women Development, Abuja. Time: 9 a.m. Come, let us honor this committed promoter of women empowerment in Nigeria. This event is under the auspices of the National Council of Women's Societies.
Blue Eyes Steel. Need to be on top of your game? Blue Eyes Steel. Optimum protection. Simply irresistible. Blue Eyes Steel. 48-hour protection. You're fresher than ever. Truly cool and so confident. Blue Eyes Steel. Now you dare.
You're still on to NTA Network News. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has alleged that the All Progressive Congress, APC, is planning to use illegal means to take over some states won by the PDP. The National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Olusametu, announced this while briefing the media at the party's national headquarters in Abuja. Ignatius Unko now reports.
Congratulatory message to the president-elect. Olusametu said PDP is highly disappointed on discovering plans by the APC to manipulate the judiciary and claim the governorship seats genuinely won by PDP in Akwa Ibom, Delta and River states.
It is, however, worrisome and threatening to our democracy that even in victory, the APC has remained desperate desire to be in control of the polity by attempting to take over the few states genuinely won by the PDP.
Metu said this is a move by the All Progressives Congress to impose one-party state in the country. He noted that all members of the PDP across the country are ready to defend their mandates.
We will not accept any attempt by anybody whatsoever, especially the opposition, to manipulate the process and rob us of our clear victories in these states or any other state for that matter.
The National Publicity Secretary said the party's national chairman is currently on 2 weeks vacation for medical attention. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The leadership of the All Progressives Congress in Kogi State says it is poised to deliver more dividends of democracy to the people of the state if given the mandate. Former governor of the state and the All Progressives Congress leader Prince Abubakar Audu stated this while briefing the meeting of the party's stakeholders held in Ogbonicha, a full local government area of Kogi State. Clement Oloruntoba has the report.
The meeting is to appraise the performance of All Progressive Congress in the just concluded election and to re-strategize for future election, particularly in Kogi State. The leader of the party in the state, Prince Abubakar Audu, commended party supporters for their resilience and reassured members that APC, under the administration of General Muhammadu Buhari, will deliver more dividends of democracy to the people. While awaiting INEC timetable for the gubernatorial election in Kogi State, he enjoined supporters to be steadfast with the party.
I have received over 3,000 letters. I've received visits of over 100 associations and groups urging me to contest for governorship. I'm still making very wide consultations, and at the long run, I declare my interest.
Other stakeholders also comment.
We are heading towards a new era, an era that will be rich in collaborative relationship, collaborative leadership, and integrity, honesty, and accountability.
Clement Oloruntoba, NTA News.
The Adamawa State National and State Assembly Election Petition Tribunal has been inaugurated in Abuja with 8 petitions before the tribunal. Chairman of the tribunal, Justice Anthony Onovo of the Enugu High Court, promised to deliver justice without fear or favor. Ali Tukur has the report.
The total of 8 petitions in the tribunal were filed against the National and State Assembly elections of the 28th March and 11th April 2015. 1 is on the senatorial election, 2 on the House of Representatives elections, while 5 on the State House of Assembly election. As the petitions filed are still at the stage of exchange of processes, the chairman of the tribunal said it is the desire of the tribunal to give each petition the necessary hearing, taking into account that by the provisions in the Section 285 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the tribunal has a period of 180 days to give its judgment.
We have been very gratified by the words we've heard from the members of the tribunal, their commitment to ensuring that justice is done in each petition.
Lawyers have agreed that they are going to cooperate with the judges so that we don't waste time. Applications that will waste time will be limited, and hearing will be, when it starts, there will be no stopping. We believe we are going to finish within the 180 days provided by the law.
Chairman of the tribunal, Antonio Novo, urged counsel to petitioners and their clients to cooperate with the tribunal in order to enable it to be just, fair, and even-handed, He also warned against any non-compliance with the rules, as the tribunal will not allow any petition to lapse. In Abuja, Aliu Tukur.
Are you thinking of doing a body organ transplant? The next story, which Ademola will bring to you from our Lagos Network Center, will interest you. Ademola, give us the latest on the organ transplant.
Thank you, Kudu. I have the report here. Welcome to Lagos. The practice of organ transplant is getting widespread across the globe as a means of saving lives by replacing a dead organ with a living one provided by a donor. As Nigeria joins the rest of the world in the life-saving medical service, the need to provide a legal framework for the regimen of transplantation in Nigeria becomes imperative. This was the thrust of the 7th inaugural lecture of the National Open University in Lagos. Jane Ojuku reports.
The lecture, titled A Legal Regimen for the Transplantation of Human Organs in Nigeria, delivered by the Dean School of Law, National Open University of Nigeria, Professor Justus Shokefon, reviewed developments in the medical sector, particularly the new frontiers in practice of medicine, of which Nigeria has identified with. The resource person, however, brought to the fore the absence of legislation to control issues relating to organ transplant, which border on consent, procurement, commercialization, and organ banking, among others.
We must look at the possibility of an organ bank. Otherwise, there will be no technological ways of protecting organs that are removed from human beings. Subjecting organs to commercial transactions may effect unjust pressure on the poor.
Vice Chancellor, National Open University, Professor Vincent Ado Tenebe, described the lecture as apt and urged relevant authorities to consider the submission.
The lecture delivered was a very brilliant one, a very useful one that we can recommend to the whole world, not only Nigeria, because of its validity and its usefulness to humanity.
The lecture ended with optimism that a legal framework will protect the rights of both the donors and the recipients, while inhibiting the commercialization of the organs in the interest of all. In Lagos, Jane Ujuku, NTA News.
Nestle Nigeria PLC, Nutrition, Health and Wellness Company, says it will soon commission its 4.6 billion naira state-of-the-art high-technology water factory located in Abaji, near Abuja, before the end of this year. Chairman of the Board of Directors, Nestle Nigeria PLC, David Ifesulike, disclosed this while addressing shareholders at the 46th Annual General Meeting of the company in Lagos. Ken Egbeluhe has the details.
David Ifezuke told shareholders that the company's new 4.6 billion naira facility, which occupies over 14 hectares of land, reflects the company's drive to broaden its water operations. It is also Nestle's commitment to the growth of Nigerian economy. Speaking on the company's financial results, Mr. Ifezuke explained that Nestle achieved strong growth in 2014 in Nigeria with a turnover of more than 143 billion naira, representing an increase of 8% over the 133 billion naira recorded in the previous year.
We produce very good quality product which people appreciate and they buy. I will try to make it affordable to them as much as possible.
My team and I are committed to continue to run the business in a responsible way for the long term and obviously to give shareholder value.
The company's proposal to declare a final dividend of 17.50 kobo per 50 kobo ordinary share was unanimously approved by shareholders.
We are impressed with Nestle performance and their quality of their products and the quality of especially their water, which is water of life.
Nestle needs to also encourage more and more sourcing of the materials locally.
The event was also used to launch the company's third sustainability report. The company says it will put in place the right action plans to face the challenges of 2015. This is to enable the company to deliver solid results in the short and long term while building the foundation for future growth. In Lagos, Ken Egbeluge, NTA News.
Here is the training. I want more.
More. I want more. More. How hard can it be to get more? Give me more. What's wrong with this guy? Simple thing, more. Just give it to me.
Don't settle for less when you can get more out of life. Now get 200% more whenever you recharge on Glow. That's right, 200% guaranteed bonus on recharge to call or text any network anytime. Still want more? How about 15 megabytes free data on recharge? 1 minute free for 3 minutes of calling, plus additional free airtime of 200 naira to call family and friends.
That's more.
The grass is definitely 200% greener with Glow. Dial star 200 hash to get your 200% bonus now.
Unlimited. Let's welcome Miss Harrison. She's a Colgate expert.
It looks like a friend is in pain.
Sam has a toothache.
It's because he has a hole in his tooth. Dentists call it a cavity. That's why I recommend brushing twice a day with new Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection plus sugar acid neutralizer. Imagine this is your tooth and these are sugar acids that cause cavities. Colgate's unique formula helps eliminate sugar acids, protecting you from holes.
So how can we help prevent Sam's cavities?
Colgate with sugar acid neutralizer to fight the #1 cause of cavities.
Brush with Colgate twice a day, every day.
Hello, I'm Frank, and this is our Kemu story.
We sold all our old baby stuff on the internet with Kemu.com.
It took just 5 minutes to get started, and it's free for customers like me.
Buyers come from all around the neighborhood.
We got rid of everything, and with the profits, I can get all the new stuff.
Already ahead of you. I've just been shopping.
Start your business today. It's that easy. Kemu.com.
Chi Happy Hour. Best of refreshment.
House of Chi.
You know the hear what? You don't go see this man again, Abi?
Oh, Sylvanus, you don't come with this your talk again, no.
No, Sylvanus, me, oh. Who be this one who wants surgery for my hand, eh?
Shebi, I don't tell you, say, now the doctor where...
Where any small thing? You don't run go hospital. Headache, hospital. Hospital. Even ordinary kata, hospital.
Eh, so if I sick, I don't go hospital again, Abi?
No be Agbofu house, oh. When will this hospital do waka start?
So if the dash you free doctor now, you don't go take him?
We don't go take better thing.
This Glow Health cover, everything are free. Hospital are free, doctor are free.
Doctor.
With over 8,000 hospitals ready for this our country, oh.
Hey, I dey carry last name, so.
I tell you now.
Glow Health Cover gives you access to free consultation, free medicine at over 8,000 healthcare centers nationwide from just 1,000 naira monthly. Dial star 616 hash to register. Go ahead, Glow Unlimited.
In network news, President Goodluck Jonathan has commiserated with the family of Nigeria's first president, Chief Nnamdi Azikiwe, over the passing away of Chief Chukwuma Bamidele Azikiwe. In a statement signed by presidential spokesman Ruben Abati, President Jonathan said the late Owele of Onitsha lived a fulfilled life by sustaining the humanitarian and leadership legacies of his father as a mobilizer, philanthropist, and a highly respected voice in his community. In a related development, President-elect General Muhammadu Buhari described the death of Ambassador Chukwuma Bamidele Azikiwe as a sad development and an exit of a great Nigerian who was brought up in the best tradition of national unity and genuine African values. In a statement signed by Director of Media, APC Presidential Campaign, Garba Shehu, quotes General Buhari as saying that with the demise of the Owele, he has lost a friend who cared for him and often found the time to visit him at his residence in Kaduna. In his condolence message, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar said the late Chukwuma Bamidele Azikiwe epitomized the best of late Zeke's zeal and passion for a united Nigeria. He observed that the late Ambassador Azikiwe belonged to the vanishing tribe of Nigeria's core diplomats who steered the ship of Nigeria's foreign policy during the difficult times of decolonization of Africa. The head of the European Union delegation to Nigeria, Michael Erion, calls for a more friendly business climate in the country to boost ties between the EU and other nations. Here is Chazalem Ikie with these and more on Business News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on Business Segment. We'll begin with the bond market where yield rose by 3.25 percent points to 9.25 percent points on average. This was driven largely by treasury bills sold at both the primary and secondary markets by the CBN. In the meantime, the head of European Union delegation, Michel Aoun, calls for more friendly business climate in Nigeria. Aoun, who made his remark in Abuja, speaks on the importance of the economic partnership agreement and also assured that the challenge of dumping of goods will be addressed.
Despite the fact that ECOWAS had agreed the results of the negotiations, Nigeria is still to sign. The most concrete thing I can say about EPA is that it will facilitate the European investors to come here, to industrialize.
The AGOA deal we have with America, this was the same contention that African countries raised seriously, and America decided to open up their economy to allow African goods to actually come in. But sadly, almost 5 years after, no single African country has been able to take maximum advantage of this.
Economic partnership agreements are bilateral contracts between the EU and the individual African countries, and once signed, about 80% of that country's markets should be open to EU goods and services. In the meantime, the European Central Bank has raised the ceiling for emergency liquidity assistance for Greek banks by 1.1 billion euros. And that concludes Business Segment tonight. I am Chiazala Mekie. Kudu, back to you for more on the news.
Thank you very much, Chazalem. Africa is the world's top producer of several mineral commodities, but most of the countries still lack systematic geological mapping that could bring about greater resource-based development and industrialization. Well, we'll take that story later. The United Nations Development Instrument, tagged the Millennium Development Goals, MDGs, will transit into a new development model to be known as the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. MDGs state local focal persons, therefore, called on the incoming administration to sustain the existing MDGs structure to take the SDGs to the next level. Chief Claire Adelabu Abdurazak reports that the focal persons stated this at the valedictory meeting with the Senior Special Assistant to the President on MDGs, Dr. Precious Benel, in Abuja.
The 2015 MDGs will give way for a new development framework called the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. As part of the winding down activities, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on MDGs, Dr. Precious Benel, was scheduled to present the MDGs Performance Tracking Survey document to state focal persons. But as it turned out, it became a very solemn valedictory meeting.
These 4 years, we reduced under 5 mortality. Ondo State became our flagship project, even when we go to the United Nations to speak in these 4 years. Our indices fell from 159, it kept on falling to the current 89 per 1,000 live birth.
And when it was time for the presentation of the documents, Secretary of Programs, MDGs Nigeria, Ochakwa Ogenyi, said a common experience shared by all was the presence of one MDGs structure or the other in their respective states.
I will advise the incoming administration to study and build on what has been done by this administration.
In Abuja,
more than 50 national negotiators and facilitators at a policy dialogue advocate the implementation of the 2009 African Mining Vision by the governments of Africa in collaboration with stakeholders in mines and oil and gas. Ronke Kolawole reports that the policy dialogue was at the instance of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA, at Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. The report.
54 countries, Africa is well endowed in natural resources, especially in mines and petroleum, and has a large potential in platinum, chromium, diamond, and uranium deposits. Unfortunately, most of these minerals are exported without the major expected value addition, as the people are yet to sufficiently benefit from their extraction.
The historical model of exploiting, or the way the extractive industries went by, is doing its business in complete isolation from the rest of the economy, are gone. And it is only fair for us to demand our share, fair share.
And therefore we hope through this meeting to be able to put certain strategies for appropriate responses, looking at opportunities, and to further strengthen the capacity of African negotiators.
Nigeria, Libya, Algeria, Egypt and Angola are dominating the upstream oil production in the continent, while Chad, Sudan, Namibia, South Africa and Madagascar are either increasing their output or becoming first-time producers.
It's important that we understand the processes, the interests that are at play during contractual negotiations.
And if renegotiations don't work, we go to arbitration naturally.
Taking a look at the history of mines and oil from the 1960s, the dialogue is of the view that for African states to checkmate revenue leakages and assume ownership and control of their mineral deposits, there is need to pursue skill development and the capacity to negotiate.
African states need to recognize that negotiating contracts in petroleum and in mining really is an investment in the country and not an expenditure. So that means they have to put in the proper infrastructure.
We got to be more and more nationalist about our resources.
The dialogue is advocating that African states should develop the political will to implement the existing environmental laws, mining codes, and the tax regime placed on these foreign investors. From the UN International Conference Center, Addis Ababa, I am Ronke Kolawole, NTA News.
Officers and men of the Nigeria Police Force have been ordered to vacate the Enugu State House of Assembly complex. These and more from our Enugu Center with Chinyere Okay. Hello, Chinyere.
Thank you, Mohammed, and welcome to Enugu. The Federal High Court in Enugu has ordered the Nigerian police to vacate the Enugu State House of Assembly complex. The court has also restrained the police from tampering with the personal liberty of the Speaker, Mr. Eugene Odu. The report. Judge Justice Dorcas Ageshi said the order subsists pending the determination of a suit brought before it by the Speaker Eugene Odu on behalf of 15 members of the House of Assembly who issued an impeachment notice on Governor Sullivan Chime last week Monday. The judge gave an order that policemen should not be seen around the House of Assembly complex, as the House is an independent arm of government unless directed by the Speaker. The court also ordered the Speaker and the other 15 members of the House be allowed to have access to the legislative complex, particularly the chambers. The orders were made in an interim injunction granted in favor of the Speaker, who filed a suit before the court on behalf of 15 members of the House. The judge, Justice Ageshi, adjourned hearing to May 19th. Respondents in the suit are the other 8 members of the House and the Nigerian police. An ultra-modern international market and Ochudo Secretariat complex have been commissioned in Ebonyi State by Governor Martins Elechi. Chinaza John reports that the governor, while commissioning the projects, stressed the need for proper maintenance.
Elechi, while commissioning the 11-block ultra-modern Ochudo Secretariat complex, which has 24 lifts, a modern recreational park, CCTV, among other facilities, expressed happiness that his dream of repositioning Ebonyi workforce has been achieved.
Enough to train a civil servant, pay him good wages. It is also necessary that he or she should have a good work environment.
At the international market, the governor was emphatic that the market was strategically located along the Trans-African Highway to serve the whole of West Africa in order to improve the economic base of the state.
We are lucky here that there is Enugu International Airport. But if you think of this region, you know that anything done here to the standard we now have will change the geography, the politics, and everything else concerning Eastern.
Speakers lauded the dexterity and vision of the present administration in conceiving projects that will stand the test of time. The ultra-modern Ochudo Secretariat Complex, which has about 65,000 offices, and the international market housing over 7,000 stores, got the sum of 36.9 billion naira, while the road network, electrification, and the drainage system at the two project sites cost above 10 billion naira. In Abakaliki, Chinaza John, NTA News.
That's the much we have for you from here. It's back to you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Chinyere. Global tidbits and some sports news are next after this break.
Textile industries, an agenda for the incoming administration. This is the focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week. Tuesday Live with those who should know. It is incisive, informative, and revealing. Don't be told. Join us.
Every time you get on the pitch, nothing feels better than giving 100%. When you hear the sound of thousands of our fans roaring, you just have to. And for us, nothing's better than Chivita 100%. With 100% goodness and 100% satisfaction. Go all the way with 100% or nothing. Chivita 100%. 100% or nothing.
The body to sweat, which attracts germs that are easily passed from one person to another.
What keeps you so cool, man?
Dettol Cool combines Dettol's protection with added menthol to protect from germs. Cool gives you maximum protection against germs every day from head to toes and an invincible icy feel. For super cool confidence, use Dettol Cool.
Dettol.
Ronke Kolaole has the global tidbits.
The deportation of more than 300 undocumented migrants. In Malawi, former head of Armed Forces General Henry Odilo has been arrested as part of investigation into government corruption known as Cashgate. Still in Africa, Nairobi, the Kenyan capital, experienced a heavy downpour which resulted in the collapse of walls surrounding a mosque, causing the death of 9 people. In another news, tragedy hit Nepal again as a major earthquake has struck the eastern part of the country near Mount Everest 2 weeks after 8,000 people died in the same circumstance. Report says almost 40 people have been killed while more than 1,000 are injured. For Global Tidbits, Ronke Kolawole, NTA News.
And Kenewe Mwagwadike has the sport update.
Kudu and Kaduna under-16 players will on the 18th of May play the opening match of the maiden edition of the President's Cup football competition. In the round of 16 draws conducted in Abuja on Tuesday, dignitaries took turns to pick the states and the groups they belong to.
It's the president, no matter who is there at any time, saying to these young people, we know you're there, we honor you, we want to encourage you, we want to work with you, we want to belong with you. And that's why this is so vital that it becomes a continuing story.
That concludes NTA Network News for tonight. Thank you for watching. Good night.